is 5:30, and it looks as if we have enough to have a quorum for our Monday, May 22nd meeting. So I would like to call this meeting to order. And I would like to announce that Cornelius is not here with us today. He had a couple of business arrangements that could not be rescheduled. I'm not the mayor. Dave, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance today, please? Thank you.
Stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right, next on our agenda is to adopt the agenda as is. Can I get a motion for that, please?
So moved.
Parrish, can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of adopting the agenda, raise your hand, please. All in favor, thank you. And if you've had a chance to look over your minutes, I would like a motion to approve the minutes of March 27th, 2023.
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
Thank you, Kirk. Thank you, Jack. Any discussion over the minutes?
Madam Chairwoman, just that I'll abstain and not being in attendance at that meeting.
Sure, we'll know that. Any other discussion? All in favor, please show of hands. All in favor with Parrish abstaining. Motion carried. Okay, new business item. This is a hot topic for us. We'd love for Kim to report on the Perrow Park, please.
Good evening. Amy asked me to come to the meeting this evening to kind of let you know where the city stands with Perrow Park, with the grant application and with timing and all of the things that are going on. So as you know, the city submitted pre-application package to ARC early March. We found out roughly 3 weeks later that we were given the green light to go ahead and proceed with full application package. So the next quarterly deadline when they would accept packages was April the 14th, which did not leave us a ton of time. But we felt that it was important to try and meet that deadline because there were at least 4 other municipalities that were going to be shooting for that deadline as well. ARC only has a pot of money for the entire year, and not knowing what their projects were, but knowing that we were asking for the full $1 million, we felt like we needed to go ahead and get our package in. So we were able to do that. It's under review. The disappointing part is that it may be September before we hear anything on this package. So it's got to go through several layers of review. It goes to the state, it goes to federal, and it just takes a while, unfortunately. In the meantime, though, we've been told that we can go ahead and start with the environmental review process, and they typically don't want you to do that until you know that you've been awarded funding. And so while this doesn't mean that we are a shoo-in for funding, it does help with the schedule a little bit. And so what we do is we send packages, the full application, maps, all of the information to various state and federal agencies for their review. And they have 60 days to review and provide any comments. So this is going to GDOT, it's going to DNR, it's going to the Army Corps of Engineers, tribal agencies, and then also to Georgia's Historic Preservation Agency too. So all folks that are interested in our project, and hopefully we will receive minimal or no comments back. I hope to get those packages out by the end of this week because they have the 60 days to do their full review of them. So in the meantime, once we get all of that information back, we hear from ARC, hopefully, that we are going to be awarded funding. then we can really start with the actual work. The unfortunate part is, we really can't expend any money right now that could go towards our matching commitment because it's work before we've been awarded of any funds. So, we're asking for $1 million, it's a 50-50 match, so we have to come up with at least $1 million, and that's in matching funds and cash money as well. So we want to be very cognizant of everything that we're doing that costs money needs to wait until we know that we've gotten funding so that it can either count towards that or it can be reimbursed as a part of what ARC may grant us. So I know it's slow and it's kind of a cumbersome project or process, but I think, if we get an investment in our community for this $1 million, that is going to be huge towards this project. So what we submitted for was phase 1, and that is all the grading, all the site work, that's the stage, that is restrooms at Perrow Park, and we included restrooms at their recommendation because restrooms naturally provide that avenue to allow people to stay somewhere a little longer if they're not having to trot off somewhere else to go find a bathroom. So it's got restrooms in there as well. There are some things that we could not include in phase 1 simply because of funding. So we'll have gravel parking along the side to start off with some asphalted handicap accessible places. Future phases would take the whole parking area and plan on asphalting all of that. But when you asphalt, you then have to provide some sort of stormwater detention and treatment. So that would be a future phase as well. Splash pads have been kind of tossed around as potentially something folks might be interested in. We've put that towards the end as well, just because it's funding that we don't have right now. Everyone knows that State Road 53 is going to be widened, and so until we get final right-of-way plans and know exactly what DOT is going to be doing along Spring Street, because that's the side that's being affected right now, I'm not sure that there will be a lot of firm design that goes on. And ARC understands that we're dependent on knowing what happens through that route there. We already know that they are doing a very large utility easement that they will be taking along Spring Street, and so that affects where we place things as well. We certainly don't want to have a restroom building on top of an electrical underground easement. I think that's about it. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Well, first of all, thank you for all your work on this.
Thank you.
I do have a couple questions.
Sure.
The grant, is it possible is it $1 million or 0, or could they give us something in between?
It's $1 million or 0.
Okay, and then if approved, how long would it take to get those funds typically?
So I'm going to ask Sonia. So let's say that they come back and they say, yes, we're going to make an investment in the community. And we have our environmental work, so that's roughly 3 months. We're ahead of schedule already. Did they say that that's a reimbursement?
It's a reimbursement grant.
Okay.
So as we spend, we send to them for reimbursement and they reimburse the city for
Now,
that.
keep in mind, we don't have firm design on any of the structural work there. We don't have a stage design yet. We don't have firm grading plans or any of the curved sidewalks or the pathways or the seating or anything like that. And so there's a component of design that will have to happen before we can prepare bid documents and go out to bid or for construction too. So, with today's market, certainly hope that things start to ease off a little bit better and maybe pricing will come in a little bit easier as well, but it's going to take time.
Understood.
Kim, when we were with ARC the last time, initially they said $750,000, but they raised it another $250,000.
So we found out after we had submitted the pre-application that for construction projects, they actually will go to $1 million. Yes, so we revised our request and sent it in for $1 million.
Yeah, that was 750 last time we met.
It was, and we are still a transitional county according to ARC, which means it's 50-50 match.
And one thing that they wanted us to do, because we never borrowed money from them before, was they wanted us to be a part of this.
Yes.
I know, talking to ARC about that. So.
Yes, they have not made a commitment, a funding investment is what they call it in Pickens County before. And so this is a great opportunity for us to be selected. I mean, by no means does it mean that we're a shoo-in, but I think we have a great project. We hit a lot of the goals that ARC and that the state has regarding tourism and impacts on economic development in the city and walkability and connectivity and all of those things that they're looking for when they make an investment in a community. So I think we have a good shot. If for some reason we do not get funding, we will certainly know what we need to do to make some adjustments, and we'll try again.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate all your help.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Exciting. Thank you, Kim. Any other questions? Thank you, Kim.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Looking forward to that. And moving on to our Downtown Live. It's become quite the event. So, Marty, would you be willing to go ahead and give us an update, and then we'll let Libby do our social media, please?
I'll just read the little blurb to put in here. It's the first Down Live event of 2023 was a great success. We had a record crowd, especially compared to 2022 at the same weekend. It was estimated over 3,000 people on Main Street, and since we've made that statement, we have found through our placemaker data, through the Georgia Power Company, that we thought we were somewhere in the area from that time frame. There was about over 5,000 cell phones in that general area from the time of the first drum beat to the end, from 4 to 10 o'clock. So I believe we have a good barometer to work from. There's been significantly a lot more visitors in downtown. Thanks to our sponsors and volunteers who work long hours on a warm Saturday afternoon. Special thanks to the city of Jasper and the staff for being resourceful throughout the day. Our expenses were in line with expectations. We're reviewing our procedures for the June 10th and already have new vendors signing up. And Libby, our social director, media person, would like to give us a report on her findings.
Hey, Libby.
Hello.
Introduce yourself too, please.
I am Libby. I am the owner of the Crucial Social. I run a social media management and strategy company. So I've been helping with this project mostly on the social media side, just getting awareness to make sure people know it's coming back and it's going to be bigger and better. So just a few quick analytics for you guys based on the actual page itself. Now I want to mention that this doesn't include any posts that were shared to groups like Jasper, Georgia News, or No Pickens. This is just from the page specifically. So since restarting up, I think we started in April, mid-April, I believe, on the page. So the reach for that page has gone up to about 31.9 thousand, which is pretty significant, and that's individual reach. Our Instagram reach is up too, but we're more focused on Facebook, so where the community is out online. And our individual page and profile visits is at over 5,000. So we're doing pretty good. People are checking it out. We have people really like seeing the bands that are playing. They really like seeing the recaps of the events. Those have a lot of engagement. They have a lot of comments and shares. So moving forward, we're just going to continue with what we've been doing, kind of share content from the event and get people going and try to promote people sharing their own photos as well.
Great job.
Thank you.
Do y'all have any questions for Libby?
Appreciate all your work.
Thank you. You've done a great job, Libby.
Thank you.
To get that up to 31,000 people looking at it,
That's a lot.
it's pretty awesome. Thank you. And just to circle back a little bit, what Marty was talking about, placer data, that is something obtained through the Georgia Power Community and Economic Development. Communities can submit this report, and it is, for lack of better terms, I guess, to follow cell phone data, how long they stay, how long they're here, and how many people. So the findings of this past event, if I'm on the right page, was up to 5,100 people is what the preliminary findings were, or the findings, not even preliminary. And it even shows where they came from, where they went to. It's a little bit of a scary thing, but all of this information can be found up here with us. You can contact us. I mean, it says they come from home, they either came from the winery, they went to the Home Depot, they came here, went to Walmart. But what was interesting is how long they stayed in downtown Jasper. They stayed for hours. You're not on that page. So that means they're downtown shopping, eating, browsing. Are you on that page, Kirk?
Average of 132 minutes.
132 minutes, which is, it's pretty awesome. So 5,000 people on Main Street staying for 3 hours, pretty significant. But with 5,000 people being on Main Street at one time and hanging around for 3 and 4 hours, could pose a little bit of a challenge for us and resources with the city. So I would like for Kirk to take a couple of minutes and be our city council liaison and give us a little report on maybe a little bit of the challenges that that presents when you host such a large event.
Thank you, ma'am. So, number one, congratulations and thank you, especially to Marty. This vision is coming to life and I am super excited. As Amy mentioned, this does bring about logistical nightmares at times, but there are lessons to be learned. And so we're going to adjust and adapt, just like we did last year. The first event to the last event were completely different. So this year we're still in a learning phase. I did have a recap meeting with the city manager and the police chief and fire chief. They do have recommendations and requirements that we're going to institute from the city side just for public safety. A couple of those, number one is the street. Main Street itself is unique in the way that it's established and set up, where you have ingress, egress for not only pedestrians but vehicles. And that's great on a normal day. The rolling closure of Main Street will not work for our public safety officials. So what we're needing to do is at noon, North and South Main Street will close. Our city crews will come out, they'll close the streets at that time. That will actually allow your vendors more time to do setup and to have things prepped. This is similar to what we did last year. While you can't enter Main Street with a vehicle after noon, you can certainly still leave. So those vehicles from noon will have until the event starts. 3 o'clock when we want them off of Main Street, so our vendors can get set up. Again, I know that as far as businesses, that is not ideal for a few. And I am encouraging them to adapt. That is the best thing they can do for that day. It is a challenge for some, but safety is our key. So we're going to stick to what the police chief and fire chief and city manager and the city need. Secondly is the end time of the event itself. We do have resources out there from the very beginning of the event to the very end. If the event, the concert ends at 10, let's just make sure that we are pretty prompt about ending that time so we can be pretty cognizant of using our resources wisely. The third and final thing that I need to mention was something called ODM, which is off-duty management. Our city council and city administration, we are moving towards ODM, where our public safety officials can actually be utilized through an app and through its service. That will allow better communication and clarity for those utilizing the resources, as well as the city itself knowing what's going on as far as events. So for this event, the police chief and fire chief, again, we had a meeting with the city manager. The police chief is decided that 3 officers are needed for these events, specifically geared towards 2 different types of individuals. Number one is the children's area. Our police chief loves our children's area, and he wants 2 officers over there at all times, 1 on each end. That is his goal, safety for those little kiddos. It made him really happy. His officers got to interact with a lot of little kids, and that made his day. And then 1 officer just for the adult side with all the concert and, just to make sure everything's fine. So what I'd like to do, Marty, we can talk offline about it. We'll get in line as a DDA board, whether it be with Tara or the city manager or the police chief. Once ODM actually rolls out, we'll have an app that we can utilize as a DDA. We can go ahead and schedule. We can set our dates and our times. That automatically schedules, sends out info to the officers. They can actually sign up. It streamlines everything. So with that, that will need to be a budgeted item. That takes the overtime off of the city. That allows us to know who we're getting and when we're getting them. The officers can then, go ahead and sign up individually themselves, and we're guaranteed that. Now, as far as the fire crews, what we have done historically is the on-duty fire crew actually comes out. They're going to continue doing that. At this time, there's not a cost associated with that. If you do see, like we did this time, they actually had to leave. Half the crew left twice. They actually went and read some med calls, but then they came back. The fire engine stayed, 2 of our other firefighters stayed, so they're able to cover the event very well. So from a city, I know that that's not always the easiest thing for business owners. When I talk about earlier street closures and longer street closures, but it's necessary. And given the numbers that were reported, I'm really excited. The businesses down there are doing great. So thank y'all for everything.
Thank you, Kirk. Yeah, with 5,000 people downtown, maybe we can adjust. And as a DDA, I do want to publicly say we are very aware and we don't take lightly if we disrupt anybody's business or whatever. We hope we can make it up between those hours by giving you 5,000 people in front of your business. Figure out how to get them in the door, right?
Yes.
Thank you for that, Kirk. All right, next on our agenda is, does anybody have any questions for Kirk? I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say all the city employees were fantastic to chip in proactively, from Chief Dawkins and his crew as well. I mean, with the challenges they had with the road, we were all present for that. And some, conversation that had to be had. Everybody was wonderful to work with and really appreciate their help. So
Well, thank you very much.
The city road crew was absolutely phenomenal and adjusting to a ever fluid schedule. So please report back all of that.
I certainly will.
I'm going to make a comment. Prior to the event that morning, and I told Adam, his staff did a tremendous job cleaning up. It was unbelievable how much work they did, and I shook every one of their hands and told them thank you, because it was magnificent what they did.
Well, thank you.
Madam
I'll pass that along to Public Works.
Madam Chair, if I can, I want to say a couple things. First of all, I want to introduce myself. I'm Dave Garner. I feel like I've been out of pocket so much lately that I want to make sure you guys didn't forget who I was. But I do want to just make a couple comments. One, I mean, the most important thing we can do as a DDA or as a city is to protect our citizens, number one. So I think that's kind of how we need to put that towards people, is that's obviously got to be the priority. But the second thing I want to say too is I just unfortunately had to travel. This past weekend I've got a lot of things going on, and so I was unable to be there. But I just want to commend each and every one of you guys that are sitting here, and Jay as well, who's not sitting here with us, just for the job you guys did. Thank you so much. I mean, I've only heard good things about it, and I've served with you guys in a lot of different capacities. But I appreciate you guys coming together, and I'm hoping to be in town for the next couple. We'll see how things go, but I do appreciate you guys, and sorry for not being there this past weekend. But
We talked about you.
Thank you for that. You're not off the hook.
I'm sure y'all do.
You're not off the hook.
Exactly,
We got big plans
exactly.
for you, Dave.
But I do appreciate you guys.
Thank you for that. Thanks. Anybody else? Good. Okay. The fun stuff of financials, that would be reported from Jay. Normally, he did submit the financial report. It is in everybody's packet. Has everybody had a chance to look over it as much as they want or would like? I could field any questions that might be here if need be. Otherwise, we will not do a verbal report since you have them in front of you. Okay. If we're good, we're going to move on to the Main Street Streetscapes update. Say that 6 times fast. From Kirk, please.
Thank you, ma'am. So as you'll notice, Main Street looks vibrant and colorful. The plants are in. Yay! Mother Nature has not killed them like the last round, so we hope that continues. This planting consisted of grasses, flowers, and a couple of other ornamentals that were hyped, specifically in the planter boxes. So I'm very pleased. They're actually growing at a pretty rapid pace. They are already bigger now than the last planting ever got because of the weather. The city manager actually worked with us to go ahead and get crews out there to water on a consistent basis. So if Mother Nature doesn't water them, she lets her crews go out, which I'm very thankful for that. I did have a meeting with Hemlock's downtown to discuss the next steps of what that looks like in the continuum of bettering our plantings and the visuals. We're going to be removing some dead crepe myrtles. They're already marked. You've probably seen the orange tape. Those are going to be removed by the city crews again. The city manager's been kind enough to do it in kind. Hemlocks is going to give us a heads up of about a week of when the shrubbery is coming in. That was chosen. This group looked at all those options. The funding was provided by the city. Once that notice is done, city crews are going to remove that. Hemlocks will come in, and then that should be all brand new. And so, yeah, I think we're right on track. Next year, I did have a business owner ask me if the other crepe myrtles will be coming out. That's something we're probably going to talk about in the fall at a retreat of strategically what we want, what we don't want, as far as what's remaining. I told him it could be a mixture, it could be a complete changeover. That's up to the board for a later date.
And so, just to clarify, those crepe myrtles will be replaced with the shrubbery
The
that
dead
we
ones, yes.
and already voted on. Thank you.
Yes.
Does anybody have any other questions for Kirk about Main Street? Isn't it
Looks great.
so wonderful? And our friends with the edible gardens, there are alternative places for those behind the
Yes.
old jail. Can you speak
Yes.
on their behalf
So,
where those
absolutely.
edible gardens are, please?
I will speak on Baird's behalf. I love Baird. We're good friends. So KPB actually has areas where they have their plantings. They move their edible plantings. Number one behind the cabin, the Kirby Equipment cabin, and the old jail, that area. They also have areas around the KPB cabin, which is graciously donated by one of ours. So they have plantings. They've actually been plugged in. They were present for Downtown Live. They did postcard art, for art walk with the kiddos. And so I believe they're pleased. I think as we move on, and in our original discussion as a DDA, it starts in the center or the heart of our community, and we're growing that. And so as we expand, I think what we're certainly going to find is that KPB is going to have a bigger footprint in certain areas that we dedicate to them.
It's wonderful. It's a city that
Yes.
dedicates to them. Yeah, I just want to, make sure that we know that the city did go
Yes.
ahead with some wonderful spaces.
Yeah.
There's still edible gardens. It's just not where they originally
Yes.
were.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Kirk.
Yes.
Okay, Jack, moving on. Art walk update, please.
Okay, I brought a list of what Angela, the budget for this last event was, and the total was $3,550. I got 3 sponsors at $300, and I got another sponsor who was $750, so that was $1,650. So, and when the city brought $1,000, I think there was some misunderstanding on how much we needed. I'd like for that to be looked into at some point in time, because I've already used my sponsors plus my $1,000, and we're just, we got 2 more events coming up, and I don't know what all we're gonna do in September or October, but PACA spent $2,000, we spent $1,000, and then of course my sponsorships were with that. And she's got a listing of everything that we spent. I went around town today to talk to numerous people, and the Penley Brewery, Jason at the distillery, of course the Mill House was closed, went by Daisy's, she wasn't there, but those people I did talk to said they had a great evening. I know my store tripled from what it did in the morning. And from my understanding, there's 2 other people who did the same thing. So it was a great event, unfortunately we had great weather. We had 3 bands playing for us, and we had the Maypole, which was a huge success. I don't know if anybody saw that. The children were out there having a great time. We had the lady from PACA showing people how to do the walk around the Maypole. It was fantastic. We had 3 people up at Bill Pickett's parking lot who did an outstanding job, and they said they want to come back. They were impressed what was here. They sold a lot of goods, not product, it's not goods, but product, and they want to come back. So I think it was a big hit, and me and Angela talked, and we're going to try to get together at the end of the week and start planning for September, but we right now, that's a couple of months away, but still we're starting in the process. Anybody got any questions?
I don't have a question, I just want to say this is a great event. I think this is wonderful, something that the community has never had. And you don't have to close the street for this. This is a walkable
No.
thing. And when we throw out the acronym PACA, I just want to say performing and cultural arts,
Correct.
right?
That's right.
Thank you. Or Pickens Art and Cultural Alliance.
Agricultural Alliance.
Pickens Arts and Cultural Alliance, thank you,
Yeah.
is
I
the
didn't know she
number
just walked
one
in, I'm sorry.
host of that, and then partnered with the DDA, and then Jack.
Right.
We'll just say Jack
Well, I mean,
is,
It's a teamwork thing, so we have a lot of fun doing this, and we challenge each other, and we have fun. And so, Angela, do you want to say anything?
Not really, other than everything that I've heard so far has been really positive. I had one participant comment that she wished some of the businesses would open their doors or put balloons on it or something. But that's something that I recommend to all businesses anyway. So that's literally the only piece of negative information or feedback I've had so far. So the crowd seemed bigger this time. I don't know, I'm kind of waiting on that placer data to see what the actual numbers are, but it seemed larger to me. And it also seemed like people stayed later than they did in the past, so.
The one thing, the only complaint I had, and I told this to Angela, was that the leprechaun was too big, so we're going to have to find a smaller leprechaun.
okay.
And Sonia loved my shoes, other than that, everybody was fine.
I don't know how you walked all afternoon or all evening in those shoes.
We were both tired when we got through. Madam Butterfly and us had a good time.
That's wonderful. And so your next event will be in September.
September.
All right. Thank you guys for that. Just a wonderful event.
Yeah,
I
good job.
just can't express how much I think this is just the coolest thing. So good job. Pickens Arts and Cultural Alliance. Sorry if I said it wrong.
One other
Yeah,
thing I
that's
forgot to mention, Angela, is we had, at this event, we had students at the art. And
Oh, yeah.
you went, there was two.
Yeah, that was kind of a new feature, and the way that that came about is that I had 3 students enter their work into the jury part of the show. And I thought, well, that would be really cool to just have them all in one space. So I was able to get with the owner of 35 South Main Street, and he let us use that facility to put all the students there. So what I'm thinking is in the fall that could actually be a larger space and have more students in a larger space and have that kind of be a separate entity and hopefully grow in the future.
So we actually had
Okay,
6 students.
Well,
3 plus 1 in mine and 1 in progress, and there was 1.
right, a college student at the
Yeah,
Progress.
yeah, so it was, we involved the students into this, and we think this is something that's only going to make us better.
Yeah.
So,
And also, I'm getting a lot more, just like on our Facebook page, I'm getting a lot more shares and a lot more feedback, and it seems like we're starting to be noticed by other communities, you know, like the Canton Arts community, Gilmore Arts community is starting to pay attention to us, so.
cool.
And I also had comments that the crowd was, you know, we had some younger people there, people in their 20s and 30s, people from out of town, so.
I'm pretty sure maybe I can get a leprechaun.
Jack might share his suit.
Yeah, Angela told me what he wears, I said, yes, Madam Butterfly.
Yes, that's what we got. Well, we'll be looking forward to the September event then. Good job. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And announcements, our next DDA meeting will be June the 26th in this room at 5:30. Our next Downtown Live event will be June the 10th. With the street closure at 12, and the event's starting at 5. Right, Marty? Bands from 5 to 10? And the next art walk is September the 2nd, and those are always on,
22nd.
excuse me, September 22nd, thank you. Those are always on Friday nights, Friday evenings. Any questions or comments from the board before we adjourn?
I want to make one more comment about the art walk, and Angela, I didn't even think about that, I meant to say something about it. We had a great event, but you have to realize that the high school football team went to Dalton, so I know there was a lot of people that said, I'm sorry I missed it but my child, and I said, I understand. But again, we moved it one time because of the graduation, because normally the graduation's on Saturday and it had to go on Friday, so we had some moving around to do, but I think it turned out great, so anyway.
Good. All right. Well, if there's no other questions or comments, I will see everybody back here on June 22nd at 5:30. We need a motion?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Motion by Parrish, second by Jack. Any discussion about adjourning? All in favor? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.